And this is what he writes in an article published actually in Russian, in Paris, in 1923. Compromise between the Palestinian Arabs and us is out of the question at present and in the foreseeable future. I skip out. It's worth reading, verbatim. It is a very important and prophetic article. Every reader, he says, has some general idea of the history of the colonization of other countries. He says colonization, he uses Russian, colonization of other countries, colonizatia innych stran. I suggest that he record all known instances, let him go through the entire list and try to find a single instance of a country colonized with the consent of the natives. There is no such instance. The natives, whether they are civilized or uncivilized, have always put up a stubborn fight against the colonizer, whether they are civilized or uncivilized. So, I mean, I skip, and he goes on in this vein. Colonization has only one goal. This goal is unacceptable to the Palestinian Arabs. This is in the nature of things. To change that nature is impossible. And therefore, conclusion. We cannot give anything to the Palestinians or other Arabs in exchange for Palestine. Hence, their voluntary agreement is out of the question. Hence, those who hold that such an agreement is an essential condition for Zionism can right now say no. In French, it says no. And renounce Zionism. Our colonization must either be terminated or proceed in defiance of the will of the native population. This colonization can therefore continue and develop only under protection of a force independent of the local population. An iron wall, and the title of the article is the iron wall. Железная стена in Russian is an iron wall which the native population cannot break through. So you see, walls are not new in Zionism either metaphorically or physically. This is the sum total of our policy towards the Arabs. And then he goes on, this is what the Balfour Declaration is for. He's writing a few years after the Balfour Declaration, which was exactly what the Zionists have been hoping for since Herzl, since the founder of political Zionism. To get a charter from whichever power is dominant in the Middle East for colonizing Palestine, so that first of all, this gives the Zionists permission to colonize it, and then it protects them against the anticipated resistance of the native population. Okay. But so Herzl first of all tried it long before the First World War with the German Kaiser. There's a famous fake photo in Zionist mythology, you find it in Zionist archives, which is reproduced if you turn to the article I mentioned online. The photo is there. But I mean, the incident is actually true. He went to meet the Kaiser during the latter's visit in Palestine, and he proposed this idea. Would you like to sponsor? Why the Kaiser? Because Palestine was there part of the Turkish Ottoman Empire. But the Turkish Ottoman Empire was a decaying corpse, which was very strongly then under the influence, the hegemony of Germany. And in fact, this is why Turkey joined the German side during the First World War. So, I mean, before actually making a deal with the court of the Turkish Sultan, the Sublime Court, as it is known, he had to first of all clear it with the German Kaiser, but the Germans were not really interested. It didn't appeal. The German imperialists didn't think that this was a serious thing. So the hope was Britain. But what would induce an imperial power to grant this charter, as it was known in Zionist writing at the time? We need a charter for colonizing Palestine. What would induce? Then Herzl was quite clear about it. He says, for Europe, we would form there, in the Middle East, part of the rampart against Asia, serving as an outpost of civilization against barbarism. As a neutral state, we would remain in contact with all Europe, which would have to guarantee our existence. Well, then imperialism meant European imperialism. American imperialism was not yet sort of in the picture so much. Although it did exist, I mean, but not in that part of the world. It was out there. And indeed, following the first, or during actually the First World War, this charter was given to the Zionist movement by Britain. It is known as the Balfour Declaration. And it is in fact a letter written by Lord Balfour, who was then Foreign Secretary, to Lord Rothschild, who was taken to represent the Zionist movement and the Jewish community in Britain, although actually most of the Jewish community in Britain didn't like that deal at all, because they regarded themselves as loyal British citizens. They didn't want to be regarded as potential nationals of another state and so on. But anyway, this was described as the wedding ring by which the Zionist movement was married to British imperialism.